everyone! So body odor is really a topic that not many people like talking about. I don't like talking about it either, but I know it's a sensitive topic, so it's important to talk about it with you guys today. So body odor used to be a huge problem for me when I was still in the corporate world because I was very stressed, and because of that I ate a lot of sugary sweets in order to balance myself out and relax, I guess. But what that did to me was cause a lot of sweat and as a result a lot of body odor. So I struggled with it for many years, but the good news is that once I adopted a healthier and cleaner diet, I ditched all the sugar and processed foods, I started sweating so much less. It definitely helped a lot. But I still had a goal of finding a perfectly natural deodorant. So you probably already know that the conventional deodorant with aluminium causes a lot of health problems, including breast cancer and even Alzheimer's. So obviously I tried to avoid that, but then I started using a crystal stick, which I didn't realize, but actually it contains the same aluminium which I was trying to avoid at the beginning. So once I realized that, I had to find something else. I also tried just coconut oil and baking soda, but that for some reason irritated my armpits. I think probably because there was too much of the baking soda. So my search for a natural deodorant continued until one day I made this DIY deodorant and I fell in love. It's amazing. So I'm going to share that recipe with you today. And then a few weeks ago, a viewer of mine whose name is Catherine, thanks so much Catherine, she gave me a recipe for another deodorant which is really cool. So today I'm going to share with you 2 DIY deodorants which are really easy to make, not many ingredients, they're super natural, they work incredibly well, and I hope you enjoy them. So let's jump right in. For the first recipe we'll need 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, 2 tablespoons of baking soda, and baking soda is great because it increases the pH of your skin, so it's not such a good environment for bacteria to grow in. Then you'll need 1 tablespoon of shea butter, which is nourishing and calming your skin. Then you'll need 2 tablespoons of cornstarch or arrowroot. I can't find any arrowroot here, so I just use cornstarch. And what it does is basically just absorbing all the humidity and all the sweat on your skin. And then that's an optional ingredient, but I really love using it. I add 5 drops of peppermint oil, or it can be tea tree oil, lavender oil, anything you like. And I especially like this one just because it's really cooling and great for hot weather. My husband says it's a pity you can't smell peppermint oil through the video because it smells amazing. It's just pure freshness. Then you also need a shallow jar like that, or some kind of shallow container, and you also need a small pot to warm up the ingredients. If you don't have shea butter, you can also replace it with the same amount of coconut oil. The only thing is, if you live in quite a hot temperature, the deodorant will be quite liquid, which is something I don't really like that much. I prefer kind of face cream consistency, and that's why I use shea butter, but it will work just the same if you don't use it. So what we need to do first is just to warm up the shea butter to make it liquid, because right now it's all thick, just like butter. Then I'll add 2 tablespoons of the coconut oil. Then I'll switch on the fire. So the butter, the shea butter and the coconut oil has melted, so now I'm going to add cornstarch. And it's time to add some baking soda. So that looks about right. And now it's time to add the last ingredient, which is the peppermint oil. I'll add 5 drops. You can even add as much as 10 really. So that's it, that's what the deodorant is going to look by this point. It's kind of white and milky, but when it dries it's going to be quite... It's much thicker. Basically it's going to be kind of like a thick... No, it won't be like shea butter, it will be like a thick face cream. And then I think I'm going to use the same container where my shea butter was before, just because it's the perfect size. Obviously if you want you can make a bigger quantity, but I like making fresh batches more often. So this container is going to be perfect for me. So that's it. once it cools down, it's going to be semi-solid. It's hot, it's bloody hot. Ta-da! My first deodorant is finished, and now let's move on to the next one. So the next recipe, as I said before, was sent to me by my viewer, whose name is Catherine. So I hope you don't mind me sharing it with the whole world, Catherine, but I just had to share it because it's so good. And all you need is just 3 ingredients. One of them is optional. You'll need 6 parts of witch hazel or rose water, and it's great because it's antibacterial. And I usually just use 6 teaspoons. That's what I usually use. And then you also need 4 parts of freshly squeezed lemon juice, and that's antibacterial too. But what it also does is it also lightens your armpits naturally. I know that a lot of girls are looking for natural ways to do it, so here you go, that's a great tip for you. And you also need 5 drops of tea tree oil, but as I said, it's quite optional, you don't have to use it, but I love using it because tea tree is antibacterial, so we'll make sure you don't smell bad at any time of the day. I usually just take 6 measures of the witch hazel, and I usually just use 6 teaspoons, and then I need to squeeze out some lemon juice. And I use 4 measures or 4 teaspoons of that. You can also use tablespoons or whatever else you like using. And then I add 5 drops of the tea tree oil, and I use either just an empty bottle like that or a spray bottle. You can put in a simple bottle and then just pour some on a cotton pad and apply it on your armpits that way. You can also put in a spray bottle and spray directly on your armpits. It's really up to you how you use it. The only thing is you will need to keep it in the fridge, because obviously it's fresh lemon juice, so it won't stay out in room temperature. If you keep it in the fridge, it will stay fresh for a few weeks. And that's slightly inconvenient because every time you go to take a shower, you'll have to remember to take the bottle with you. But you know, it's a small price to pay for a wonderful, fresh, natural deodorant. The good thing about it is that it doesn't leave any white streaks on dark clothing. You'll also need to reapply this deodorant a couple of times a day if it's a hot summer day and you're sweating a lot. But for the first recipe, you won't need to apply. It will last all day long and more. It's amazing. It's really the most powerful deodorant I've ever tried. The second recipe is great for those with very sensitive skin who can't tolerate any baking soda in the recipe. So these are my 2 natural DIY deodorants. They're super simple to make and they work really, really well. Obviously they're very cheap and they're not dangerous for your body. In fact, they're nourishing and they're really good for you. They smell good. So I hope you'll give them a try. And I also wanted to mention that if you don't have some ingredients or you don't want to make a DIY deodorant for some reason, you can just use plain baking soda or coconut oil. Now, coconut oil for some reason didn't work for me, but I'm a very heavy sweater, so that might be the reason why. But you can use baking soda, and I have to say it does work for me. The only thing is it really irritates my skin, so I can't use it often. If I use it for 1 or 2 days, it's fine, but if I use it for more, my armpits start feeling really raw. But you will not know until you try it yourself, I guess. You know, it works really well for some people, so just give it a try. So I hope you found this video helpful, and if you do give these recipes a try, please let me know. I'd love to know what you think of them. Honestly, they both work really well for me, and I use them both at the same time. Obviously not on the same day, but different days. I just change between them. So thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you aren't subscribed already. And I guess I'll see you in my next video. Bye! The bread we're going to be making today is the kind of bread I grew up with in my country, Lithuania. And I've always loved it so much, but I obviously couldn't buy